All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm really looking forward to this conversation that we're going to have today. I'm going to be talking to Hailo Dufera. He unfortunately has had a loss in one of the many attacks in Welega, and I just want to bring in a very personal story to that so that we can all kind of get on the same page and really figure out what's going on the ground. Hailu, welcome. Thank you so much. We're live. I really appreciate you making this time. I know it's a very difficult time. I just want to say I'm so sorry for your loss. Many of us saw the story that she wrote and we're touched by that. It was a very human story. Your dad sounds like an amazing person that literally put his life on the line to protect a woman and her baby. So thank you so much for making the time, first of all.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me here.
My pleasure. So I just want to start from the beginning. So you live here in the United States, working as a fellow in a top school, in an Ivy League school here in the United States. But you have family in Wellega, and your dad was one of them. Can you just kind of walk us through when you heard about his loss and what it was that you heard happened?
Yeah. So this happened on this happened on June 18, and I got a call from my brother June the 19th, Sunday in the morning. Um, I think they have been trying to conceal this because they have not get the body overnight, even though the attack happened on Saturday. So they told me on Sunday, on June 19th, and that is something I don't wish anyone to hear while they are far from their family. I've been here for a year, and yeah, it is very difficult moment for me.
What was it that you heard happened?
So initially, even my brother who lives in Addis had no clear information. All he heard was the passengers and my dad in a minivan traveling in like close by town in close to Nekant. My father lives in Nekant, but it close by town around Arjo to was abducted, and what my brother told me is some of them have been shot. So that is all he could find, and he was traveling. He just told me if I could come as soon as possible. I'm the eldest in the family, and this have been very difficult for all of the family members. So they wanted to have me there as soon as possible. So that is what I heard, and as soon as I got a ticket, I bought one and started traveling. And on plane, I started to find out the details. Some tried to call some people on the ground. So what happened was my dad has some farm area where he was taking fertilizers to give to the farmers he supports. He has been doing this thing for more than 10 years now. The road has been closed for 2-3 days, I think. But on Saturday morning, they told him it is open again. So he just got some 2-3 quintals of fertilizer he purchased from Nekant and took it on public transports. And before they arrived to the destination, they armed force people stopped them. They asked whatever they have, like money, phones, and all that. And while they were doing this, they were communicating with different people. And of all this, my father is a very visible person. He is a hugely outspoken person, and he was asking them. He was asking them to be more understanding, especially when they attacked a woman with her child, when they were like literally interrogating her, asking a lot of questions. She was not responsive. And when he starts speaking up, shifted the target to him, and they started questioning him, who you are, why are you like asking us, how dare you question us, and all that. And things escalated so fast, and my dad grabbed one of the men. He almost took his gun away, but other two people shot him while he was struggling with the other person.
I mean, this is absolutely incredible. So your dad died while trying to defend, I believe you said it was a woman and her baby that were being harassed by these people who had guns. And that's just an amazing story. I mean, it appears that he died in the first attack in Wellega. There was another one about 2 weeks later that we heard about. It seems like there were many different attacks in each one. It wasn't just this one mass attack. When you hear the story of Wellega and how it's told, and I saw some of the reactions to the post that you put up, there were many assumptions that were made about the ethnicities of the people in that story you told, including your father. Can you just tell me a little bit about the reactions that you got, and where there was, what you felt to that?
The whole thing, what is going on, as I said on my post, is a big mess, and we are decaying into beyond stupidity. That is what I understand. And the way we narrate stories, the way we comment, or I saw some of the tweets, some of the reshares, and we tend to kind of take it to another level and put it in some sort of box that is going to fit our political agenda. And this should stop. Like my belief, my dad, all my dad did was human. Like being human is sufficient. You don't have to belong to one ethnicity or another tribe or whatever. And I don't think it was also about ethnicity. These people, they are attacking everybody. This kinds of sad story get to hear from Welega almost every day. Somebody dies, somebody icon dies, a pastor, or a church elderly, or a priest. We get to hear this because those elderly people speak up, like saying, "Why do you do this?" Whenever you, like, for years, when something bad happens, nowadays we do have a very terrible moral. I'm sorry to say this. We just keep passing by. But for elderly, it's difficult, whoever it is. So this was not about ethnicity. This was not about like genocide, as some of them tagged me. This is about being human, and I'm sorry about those kinds of beliefs.
So there was an assumption that was made in your story that, we don't, do we know, so you say your dad is Oromo, right? And do we know the ethnicity of the woman and the baby that he was protecting, or is that?
No, I don't even know the ethnicity of the woman. What I found out from those who survived from that incident is that the woman couldn't speak up, and they were like asking. They ask everyone. They are asking, "Where are you from? What do you do?" Because like they might, especially like they ask if you are a government employee, if you are affiliated with some sort of groups, and all those questions. So I can't say she was from this group, but she was not able to speak up in Afan Oromo. That is how they are asking. That doesn't put her in any group. We do have 90 plus ethnicity. I don't know which group she is, and I don't even like bother to find out that, because she was a mother, she was a woman getting attacked by an armed person, and that is all you have to defend. Being a human is enough, and that is what my dad did.
Amazing. For many of us, Welega is a place far, far away that really only exists in our imagination every time we hear about, a large number of people being killed. But, you're here, that's home to you, or that's where family is for you. What is Welega? I mean, what do people there live like? What is it like there?
Um, there is this myth about Welega for a long time. And even back when I was in school, when I joined university, whenever we say I am from Welega, there is this stereotype that is attached with the word Welega. But Welega people are not different from any Ethiopian. I mean, I'm from Welega, and I have traveled almost everywhere in Ethiopia, and I don't see any difference. And Welega people are like innocent, very religious people, but there are people who fall far from the trees. Like there are people who could like disgrace this genuine society. And I think we need to stop that. We need to stop seeing that. We need to see each other as fellow Ethiopians. And actually, the people in Welega are the most suffering. From my understanding, I had a privilege to see every corner of the country. I just came here a year ago. I was working. I was a healthcare professional. I was traveling everywhere. And from what I understand, the people in Welega are the most suffering. Uh, but unless we stop and kind of pointing fingers at each other and discriminating a group or a person just by name, like if we start standing for like humanity, for Ethiopianism, like I think that is what we all have to do. And this should be a way for us to salvage our uh, country. Like it is so sad. What I witnessed is so sad. The people in Welega are like well statured, like beautiful people. That is what I know. That is how I grew in. But the last time, like 3, 4 weeks ago, I was there. What I witnessed on the face of the people working is misery. Everybody is in some sort of sorrow because these things are happening in every household. And yeah, the people are just suffering just like everyone else in Ethiopia.
So when you heard the unfortunate news about your dad, you were actually able to go back not just to Ethiopia, but all the way to Welega. What was that journey like?
Personally, I think it was the most difficult travel I had ever. I, I like I can't describe it. It's the feeling, the confusion, because I never thought my dad would die this young. He's 54, and I was talking to him like 2 days ago, 2 days before this happened, and we had a lots of dreams because my dad sacrificed everything he has for his community and everything he has for his children's, not the children's like biological children's. My father was like trying his best educating boys and girls of the community, even to date. To this happened. My father's home is always occupied by 3, 4 college students who are coming from far area, trying to grasp the dreams that is going to be gained from education. So it was so terrible, like to understand, uh, like to hear this and go there, and it was a long journey. I like the plane took forever. I felt like a week, and by the time I arrived there, like everything had been done. I couldn't even I didn't even reach a funeral. So they buried him a day before I arrived there. Yeah, it is indescribable. was very sad.
And what do people say there happened? I mean, we in the diaspora have, many versions of what is going on in Welega, but when you talk to the community there, I mean, what is happening? So you say there's these young people that are picking up arms, and some of the older people are speaking out against it. What do the people there say is happening?
The people there is terrified. That is what I sensed, because even speaking up could like be a reason for your death, even though you grew there, even though you are from there, like you spent your entire life there. So people are terrified, and they can't describe it. They can't say even names. They can't describe who's who, because they are getting attacked from every direction. Uh, I sympathize with them, because different groups are coming and asking them to bring that and this. Whenever they do, like, for example, supply food for an armed group that came asking for food or slaughtering their gods, another group will come and ask them or put them through very terrible misery, because they supported that as a group. They are not supporting, they are not doing anything, but they are sandwiched in between different forces. And these all forces are not organized, from what I understand. There is no structure. It doesn't seem there is a structure. I'm not a political person. I have never bothered to look into these issues, but from like the conversations I have with different people on the funeral, it is undescribable. Like everywhere. It's just sometimes just groups. Unemployed youth will use an advantage and just gives themselves a name and start robbing and stop a car and get whatever they want. And these people are asking a lots of ransom monies. And I don't understand that, how political that is. They just kidnap a person, ask like 150,000, 200,000 Ethiopian birr. This is happening almost every day. So yeah, it is difficult to describe for me. It is really difficult.
And my understanding from talking to some government officials and people on the ground is Wellega is a very forested area. In some areas, the villages are very spread out. And so, where is the protection? Are there police in each village? Are they not reachable? Who is protecting these communities?
This is very difficult for me to comment, because all I know is Nakant. Nakant is a zonal town, a big town, and like even before I moved to US, when I visited my family, I saw military presence in the town. I think there is some sort of military camps there, and this is a big town, and I can't say, but the other areas are like Welega is very big. It has another different zones, like except East Welega, like the zonal towns are even far. So yeah, I can't really comment because I have not experienced it, but the hard to reach areas are, I believe, very difficult, even for the government to control. And as you said, these are difficult areas with limited road access, and also very mountainous and topography difficult and all that. So yeah, but that is my just general comment. Otherwise, I don't have that direct experience.
And when you talk to the people there, is there a desire to leave that area? You said that they live in fear. So is there anything that in particular that they're asking for?
Yeah, but where do you say, where are they going to go? Like, because this is your home. This is where you spend your life. This is where you have invested. This is where you know. And especially for people from Welega, like like we're not that much familiar with the other parts of the country, and even like the land access, how fertile the area is, how easy for their life, like the way they live. So I don't think that is an option to kind of migrate to the other area. That is at least what I saw, maybe except few wealthy groups who could just go to the center and all that. So that is not even possible for my family, who are not like necessarily living on farming. They live in Nekant. Like that was not even possible. Like I have begged my dad to leave that area like more than 2 years ago. I begged him because I was terrified for him. Like the fact that he traveled to this area frequently, like on the name of support to the farmers. I was begging him, but his response was, "Where am I going to go?" Okay, like I sent you to school and I managed to get an opportunity, but what about my brothers, my sisters? We do have an extended family, so I don't think that is an option. All we have as an option is finding a way to settle this madness. And I think if the whole nation, if the whole humanity in Ethiopia start to collaborate, we will be able to do that. Otherwise, the fact that we are pointing at each other because of ethnicity background is giving them much opportunity to exploit the people. And these people who are exploiting are not only from a given group, they are from every direction. Every direction. I have to say, every direction is exploiting the population. And some, I sometimes even think some of them are considering this an opportunity. I don't think they want to end this chaos because they are benefiting from it. Like if you are going to easily ask ransom money of 200K Ethiopian birr, you are getting wealthy from it. So why do you end it? Because I am a medical doctor. I have worked like for a long time, 200K in Ethiopian birr. I don't imagine it having in a day, not like in a year, not even a day. So this have been a job opportunity for some. This have been an opportunity for their own political agenda to be like extended. So, yeah, I think the hope for the society is bringing alliance, bringing some dialogues, and also like ignoring these unnecessarily tags because of ethnicity. So otherwise, I don't think we will have a chance to bring the country back.
So one of the purposes that you say of these armed groups is, of course, money and ransom. What do you think they're trying to provoke in the people in and outside of Welega? Is the purpose division, ethnic division? Is there any other purpose beyond just getting the ransom and the immediate money?
I don't know because logically thinking, for a different group who has a political agenda, this shouldn't be the target. This shouldn't be the way they act. Like while they are trying to, I mean, saying, at least saying in words, they are for the community. They shouldn't do this to the community, with whoever group they are. Like whichever names they give themselves, they shouldn't do this to the community. And I think they have also kind of lost their targets. They have kind of lost their intention. If this is a group who says on media or some ways we hear having a political agenda, this is not political. This is just some like robbery groups. Like this has nothing to do with politics, and I don't think they have a long vision. I don't think if they are a group at all, if they are some sort of organization at all, but if they are just a group of 4, 5, or 10 years with firearm, thinking this is fun and trying to get the best out of it. Yeah, that could be the case. So I can't comment because logically for me it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Like, this is not how you take power, or this is not how you struggle. This is not how you run some sort of, whether it is armed or not, a political agenda.
And I
I
know,
think it's
yeah.
beyond.
Yeah, and I know some of this is speculation, but a lot of people are curious. Do people on the ground think this is OLF, TPLF? I mean, I know you said they don't seem very organized. Are they of a particular ethnicity? Is there any sense, at least from the people on the ground, that any of those things are true?
That is so. As I said, people are terrified of speaking anything. So I literally begged, asked even the police in that area and from that Welega, and all they could give me is, these are just yours. We know. We will find who they are. Otherwise, they will not give you. They are from this group, and this happened because of that. So there is a very palpable fear on that. And if you are going to name, I think you possibly they could be targets. So genuinely, I don't know which group or who did this. All I knew is they took a father who has sacrificed his entire life building a community. Like, we came from the most remotest part of the country. My family, and I am the first person to go to college in my entire extended family. And all this happened because of my dad. I never had any privilege, and all this privilege came from his strength. And this person deserved to live happily for a long time. This should have not happened to him. And that is what I could say.
And what did your family do as a livelihood? Because it is, a remote area. I think a lot of people are curious as to, whether people are living on farming, or are there other methods of livelihood?
Yes, my father is a government employee. He works just as an officer in a Welega. He has a law background, so that is his main job. But he is also a farmer. As you could see from the pictures, he consider himself a farmer. Most of, like, especially over the weekends, he will rent some lands around there. That's a very fertile area, so he farms over the weekends and also whenever he get a break. So he was mixing this, and he had been doing this thing for a very long time. But our background, just like before my dad did, tried to finish his high school when I was like in high school. So we actually finished high school together. Um, that is when he came to like a government job, which is paying him literally nothing. He has a diploma, so it is not high paying or something. So he farms, but he is also a government employee. My
So
mom is
is he
based.
yeah, please go ahead. Your mom?
Hi, my mom is just supporting us. So most of her task is at home, and she also do some farming, especially with cattle and all that. So that is what she do most of the time.
And so your father was a police officer. And what is that, or what was it exactly he did as a government employee?
So yeah, officer is like in US and there is different.
Right.
He is just government. There is, what it does, the lowest administrative structure. He works in that, and he is a lawyer for the Woreda. So whenever the Woreda got sued for whatever reason, he represents the Woreda, and also some legal advice to the Woreda. That is his main task.
Okay, I see. So when you living in the diaspora here in the United States, and you see sort of the conversations that are happening around, every time there is a mass attack in Wellega, what is right and what isn't right as far as you know? What about the numbers? I mean, there is a large discrepancy between the numbers that we hear from one entity versus another.
Here's also another thing that is difficult for me to comment because I hear numbers. I see them on social media. So whenever I get a chance to see social media, otherwise, what I know from my personal friends, family members, people die, like one, two, three people dies almost every week at least. I think you we get to hear very occasionally, like people are dying for a very long time, for more than 2 3 years now in that area. And these attacks are could be just targeted attacks, and it could be just random. Things got out of control, but people are dying, and we don't get to hear them. We don't get to hear them. Like we only get to hear. I have to say, possibly politically charged, or whenever there is a big number. And I can't comment about those big numbers. And from my experience, what I see is people are dying almost every week. You get to hear some sort of tragedy, if it is not even 2 3 times per week, in each town, in each village. This is happening everywhere across Wellega, and these people are maybe targeted because of like they are not paying ransom, or because whatever they said, or it happened random. I can't give like a cause for everything, but this is happening. And yeah, so on the day my father died, on that, just two people died, and you don't get to hear this. This on the next day, after 2 days, another person, an icon in the town, died. You don't get to hear this, and this is frequently happening. So yeah, it should stop.
And when did it start? Do you remember a time where it wasn't like this? Was it, after the transition, the last 2 3 4 years, or is there some sort of a difference in the timeline?
Um, I don't know. My problem, I have been detached from that area. Especially the past 4 years, I've been in and out. I was doing my master's in Norway, and I was here for a few time, starting from 2018. I can't say I am that present, and the maximum I stay when I go back was like last year, about 7 months. And I am not that person who kind of look into these things. I just I'm just consumed in academics. Like most of my time I spend on my personal affairs. So yeah, it is very difficult for me to draw a boundary. But I, I think it has been more than 2 or 3 years now that we get to hear like a frequent interruption in internet. And that is when I notice, because when I try to call my dad, my mom, reaching out to them, like, so yeah, I think 2 3 years have been maybe the most critical one.
And there was a time where it was safe to live there.
Oh yes. um I mean, I spent like high schools in that area. Even though I grew in Benishangul, like the other close areas that my other extended family lives in. but it was so safe. It was so happy place. Welega was so happy place. That is a memory I have about that. And I actually attended high school in one of the Woreda where they say it is out of control now. So I think it, yeah, it changed. It was very safe. At least when I was there, it was very safe.
And what's the relationship between the people there? Is there any sort of ethnic tension or conflict, as far as you know, before this time, or at least among the people themselves?
I believe Welega is one of the most homogeneous area, and ethnic tension will not be, I think, that much of a concern. It's very homogeneous. That is what I can generally say. Of course, it is not very neutral. I mean, there are different ethnicities living, especially in the cities and some of the towns, especially when some sort of settlement had happened. But even those areas have been there for a very long time. People have been interacting, getting married from each tribe, each ethnicity. So it is the most homogeneous area from my understanding. So I think tension was not that much a problem.
And homogeneous as in mostly Amhara, or it's just that
It's mostly
people?
Oromo. It's mostly Oromo.
Okay, the area that your father is from is mostly Oromo.
Yes.
Okay. And he lives in the city, or he lived in the city?
Yes, I mean, if you consider them city, these are just Wereda towns, a very small town, and yes, relatively from like considering it is a city, he just moved to Nekant recently. I forced him to move to Nekant very recently, less than 2 years.
And before that, he was living in a more remote
He,
area?
he was living a close by area, like where this incident happened. It was a Warada where he still works. It is a very close by, so he take transport to go to his work and come back and live in Negan. So it is a very close by area. It's on asphalt, and so I would say it is also part of Negan. So it is not that far.
And so, as far as you know, he was en route to or from work when this incident happened?
So he just left his home on Saturday morning, and he was taking the fertilizers to a nearby town where he asked the farmers to come and receive the fertilizer, and he was planning to get back to Nakat.
I see. Okay. And so he was okay. So he was en route when he tried to intervene with this armed people that were harassing a woman and her
Yes.
child. And I know you said it. This is mostly homogeneous, but people are asking. The diaspora has a certain perspective of what happens on the ground, and so someone's asking if the Oromos in Welega are ever discouraged to speak Amharic.
Um, so if we had done this interview in Amharic, you would say I am Amhara. That is what I say.
Very interesting. So, I mean, this is such a treat in a way to have such a personal perspective because, as you I'm sure observed, a lot of us are a little bit, detached from what's going on the ground. We're just sort of hearing about it through the mainstream media outlets, and so, just wrapping up. Last question. I guess two questions. How do you want your dad to be remembered? And how would you advise or suggest some of us in the diaspora who mean well but have different perspectives on what's going on the ground and how to advocate for it? How would you suggest that we go about that? So first, just how would you want your dad to be remembered?
Yeah. So as I put it on the post I shared, my dad has been not because he's my dad, but he has been a very unique person who struggled, who did all his best for the community, and he had the power of like lots of finance or something, bigger power. I can't imagine what he have done, but yeah, it is a very tragic that we lost him. But I somehow draw my comfort that he stood by his principle, even his last moments. And I think that is what we all should do. Like the conversations we had in the past 14 minutes, I am trying to tell that message. It doesn't, like, I have a pain in, like, I this pains me a lot. I lost a person I see as icon, and this person single-handed me handed like showed me a path to make it to Harvard. I never had any privilege, and so I can't mention like an icon more than my dad for me, but I am trying to be as like objective or as considerate as possible on these conversations, because that is what we have to do. Like, we have to bring first the humanity rather than just mentioning your ethnicity or your group and saying some outlandish things that is going to hurt a lots of innocent people. And like, coming to the message for diaspora, I believe the diaspora has a lots of power, but these powers are most of the time, from my observation, misused. We do have like luxury of transmitting a message that is going to get heard or seen by thousands of people, but the message we are transmitting on whatever it is, YouTube channel, whatever social media, it is a disgrace most of the time. I'm not saying everybody is doing that, everybody is like using this, but I believe, as a person who came from that poor country, we should use our this opportunity and put all positive efforts, like, be going beyond the horizon, like all the positives. If it comes from this very educated, possibly the most educated people of the country are out of the country. So more experienced, with a lots of opportunity, with a lots of power, I think we should be able to use it wisely.
I think that's a great point. I can't let you go because a lot of questions are coming, and I think people really want to hear from you. Some of this you may not be able to answer, but people are really curious to hear your perspective. One of them coming in being that, there are reports that some of these attacks are strategically attacking Amhara members of the community with the approval of the local government. Any take on that? Any insight on that?
I can't say. I can't say. As I said, I'm just sharing my personal experience. Otherwise, I'm not affiliated with anybody, and I don't have even like a strong opinion, because I said I'm very far from this. I'm really far from this.
Right, as many of us are. Is there did anyone on the ground? I know you said that a lot of them are fearful to speak. Is there anyone on the ground that suggested something like that? There is local government accomplices, and then to that point, also another question coming in is, and again, if you can't answer some of these, it's completely fine. Some people also said, what is the view of the Oromo descendant Oromo Welegians about OLF or Onek Shene?
I like, I don't know. Like, the problem is, there is this misbelief, like misconception, that every Oromo would understand everything about OLF or Shani or possibly have someone on call, friend back then, but I don't have anything. That might be my like failure. I should have been informed or maybe dig deeper, but I am in a profession that is really far from that, and I don't have any political affiliation. I am the least political person from my friends I know. I don't even engage in such kinds of conversation from early on in childhood. So I'm sorry, I can't comment on those things.
Understandable. Do you worry about your family that's left behind, that's
Yes,
still
I
there?
do. Yes, I
Yeah.
do. Because as a child, I do have a regret. I have asked my dad to move, but I didn't kind of. I personally think that I didn't do much effort. Like if I had not just chased this dream and came here, if I had been there are lots of ifs that I ask myself. So I I am terrified about other members because I have never imagined this will happen to my dad. If this happens, like it could happen to anyone. So yes, I'm fearful for other family members. This arbitrary attacks could happen to anyone, not because they are my family, but it could happen to anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean that's understandable. Anything I didn't ask you that you want to add?
No, I think we had a good conversation. Thank you very much. And I really appreciate the opportunity to share my father's story. It is just a personal story. I don't want to, I hope I didn't offend anyone, but this is nothing to do with politics. It is just my father's story.
Amazing. And I mean, it's absolutely a touching one. I know a lot of people are in the comment section really appreciative of you sharing that. Really proud of what you're able to do here in the States. I mean, you're operating at a high level here at the where you work. So congratulations on that. Thank you so much for sharing the story about your dad, and just really appreciate your time and openness.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Hailu.
Yeah.
Take care.